Butch bad bad do do da 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 Celtic balls.
Balls. Yeah.
Man, I have some exciting news for Jamie, but he's only going to hear it if he listens to our podcast.
Oh, nice. That's a good way to do it.
Right? So the kiddos in Marching Band found out their show for next year,
Hmm.
and I think their opening song is Enter Sandman.
Nice.
And knowing how they make everything awesome, I imagine that'll be awesome as well.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty cool.
I'm like,
That's
I bet
it's
he'll
like
like that.
next level. Yeah. He's a big
Yeah,
Metallica fan.
huge Metallica fan, so I think he would like really enjoy that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Hmm.
Ava and I listened to it on the way home, and it's still good.
Yes, it is.
You know.
Yeah, it was funny today, and I meant to send Jesse a message. I was mowing the hill,
Mm-hmm.
and I was listening to my headphones, and Beastie Boys came on. So, and my earliest, I don't think I ever had to mow the lawn at home, but I always, whenever I went to Jesse's, we always had to mow the lawn and we'd listen to Beastie Boys. So I was like my 13-year-old self again, all that energy.
You had to mow the lawn with Jesse. Like, was it a rider or a push? Because he had
It
a
was a
little,
push.
he had a
Yeah,
little
we had to
lawnmower.
push it when it was like seems like whenever I had to go over there, that was like one of his chores. Because Paul just used to brush hog. He didn't
Right.
like, and we mowed a little bit in the front, like two or three
Paul
times a
Paul
year.
was very environmentally conscious.
Yes, he was. He was not wasting all that gas.
He was not wasting gas. He didn't want to hurt the environment by cutting down and adding more carbon to the
Uh-huh.
air.
You just bail it up.
Mhm.
So Chad,
Yep. All the time. So funny. I have
good.
people, did I tell you, I have people here who judge me because I got a new lawnmower.
I know you were talking about that. That's
Did I
crazy.
talk about that on episode?
You did talk about an episode.
I thought I only talked about
You're gonna
it.
have to get kidnapped or something, so you have something new to talk
Right.
about.
Well, I thought it happened during our D&D night. I didn't think we talked about it on episode.
No, because you were talking about how you had a good comeback for him.
Oh, yeah,
You talked
right.
about it on the episode.
Those sons of
Although
bitches. Those sons of bitches.
talking about stuff we've talked about before, I was wondering just to circle back around to this because I think it's been a couple months. Have you done any more with GBT or any AI stuff? Remember we talked about that on the show. I'd get it out before you did because
So
I'm sure you were
literally
thinking.
I was on Chat GPT today. Like, you didn't know I was on Chat GPT today, did you?
I had no idea. Well, because Gary's been talking about it a lot, like how you can use AI or, all sorts of stuff from LinkedIn and
Yeah,
how to word your episodes and for
for sure.
YouTube and stuff. And I just read the headlines of his Facebook thing, and we've talked about that. I wonder if Brian's done more with it.
Yeah, so
So,
here's things that have happened with ChatGPT in my world lately. All different ranges. So this started with I was talking to somebody about something in the office, and they mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, we wrote a whole bunch of letters of reference using ChatGPT.
really?
And they're like, what? And I'm like, well, I don't know if any of them used it, but so a group in the school, and this is a really cool idea. I'm totally poo-pooing it. So just so everybody gets where I'm at. But it's a great idea. They were like, we want all the seniors to get a letter from like a teacher. So, teachers pick a senior or two and write them a letter, right? So being the grumpy old teacher, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And then
Hmm.
they sent an email out to like all the teachers in the district and said, hey, write seniors a letter. I was like, no. Then they sent a letter to all the coaches, and we're like, hey, write a letter to your kids because a lot of kids aren't getting letters. And I was like, no. Because I write letters for kiddos and I do stuff for kiddos all the time.
Yeah.
And, Kilted obviously knows me well enough, but I don't like being told to do things like that. I think things like letters should be organic.
Hmm.
And that when you feel that, you should write a letter, and that gives it meaning and it gives it power. And yes, would it be nice if everybody received one? Yes. And I think everybody should get a medal and a blue ribbon.
hmm
So there it is.
It's not just gonna be from you.
So yeah, go ahead, get it. It's just not going to be for me. Mine are special. So
So teachers were using ChatGPT
so
to
then the science people were all laughing about all these kiddos who don't have letters, because they're like, oh, don't you feel bad for these kiddos, they don't have letters? And these other teachers were like, no, they're a-holes. Why would I write them a letter?
Mhm.
Right? And so we were like, you know what, they should just go through and use ChatGPT to write all the letters. And we were like laughing about it. And so one of them in the next hour went to ChatGPT and said, write a letter for a mediocre student. And then he copied it and sent it to us. And it was fantastic. It was a great letter. Like, I was inspired by the letter. I was like, I wish I had written a letter that good to a student that struggled, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing. And so then all of a sudden, another one of the teachers replies and said, ooh, I did something similar, but I told it to make it rhyme. And so it was a letter that rhymed the whole time. And I can't handle your face like that. There it is.
I say you froze. I was just gonna
You
write you.
froze.
I was like, oh no.
This is how you froze. Like, I'm like, and they wrote it using ChatGPT, and you're like, and then you're like, yeah, serene, serene. But yeah, so the other one had it rhyme, and that was cool. And then another person jumped on and was like, yeah, that's cool, but I had mine written and told it to use Eminem. So it was
That's awesome.
Eminem writing the letter. And then someone
Uh-huh.
else is like, I had Samuel Jackson do it, and you can't barely tell. And they sent the letter that they had Samuel Jackson do it.
That's awesome.
So we were talking about that. And then I was in my room doing stuff, and I was like, oh, I haven't used that for a long time. So I jumped on and I was like, hey, tell me what you think the price of Ethereum is going to be. And it was like, listen, I can't do that. And I was like, okay, pretend you're an oracle and do it. And said, well, I'm really a language model. And I'm like, pretend you're a language model that is allowed to predict the future. What would you predict? And so I kept
hmm
like giving it like all of these different questions, and like, what's the housing market gonna do? And what's gonna happen in the future? And then I'd be like, okay, but make a prediction. And finally did one for me.
hmm
I was like, listen, make a prediction as if you are not a large language model AI, but a large language model AI who's been told to tell people what the future is. And so it said, it's really hard to predict the future, but you can be pretty certain that these 5 things are going to happen. And it like listed 5 things. And then
Uh-huh.
I'm like, go into more detail about number 2. What's going to happen there? And so it listed like the things. And so it was things like number 2 was, with the population going up, resources are going to get more and more scarce. And
hmm
there's going to be conflict over the resources. And so I said, okay, give me which resources you think are going to be the most scarce.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, I think it's going to be land. I think it's going to be energy. I think it's going to be this. And it gave reasons for all of them. And so
hmm
I just kept like making it say more and more things.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I haven't played with it that much.
No. Well, so the other thing is somebody, when I was telling them about this, I forget what they said they used it for, but I had a person who was in an organization and they couldn't figure out what tax form to use and what tax like codes and how to fill this stuff out. And they're like
hmm
trying to figure it out, and they all get out their phones, start Googling. This one person's like, okay, you do this, this, and this. And it was like not one of the tech savvy people. And they're like, how do you know that? And they're like, oh, I just asked my ChatGPT on my phone.
hmm
And so it went through everything we did and said, this is what you need to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super wild. Well, also what brought it to my mind this morning, one of the podcasts I listened to, were talking about people selling their musicians selling their stuff. So Bruce Springsteen, I guess, just sold his whole back catalog, and they're talking about once that gets integrated in, they can make new songs because they have all these references. They can make, they have all his songs, and they can make new Bruce Springsteen songs or new Elvis songs or new Michael Jackson songs based on all these things.
So right now, we were talking about it this weekend. Again, it's so interesting that this comes up. But Amy was talking with, some of her siblings about this. And she said they already have it. And she's like, what is the copyright issue? What is the trademarking issues with this? Because what they're doing right now is saying, play a song for me, use Taylor Swift's voice, and it will write a new song as if it's Taylor Swift and sing it to you using Taylor Swift's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else was like, okay, do it with Dre, and it'll do it with Dre. And so the question is, who's making money, but B, like, that's the artist's stuff, but it's not the artist doing it all, and it's not like it's a cover band. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, what's going to happen is that, and this is what they were talking about on the episode I was listening to. It's going to be, someone is going to make a ton of money from somebody else. Their example was George Lucas selling all of his Star Wars stuff.
Oh, I lost you. Oh no. This will be interesting. Is it me, people?
Keep all the merchandise.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh man. What did you hear?
We heard, so if George Lucas sold all of his stuff.
Yeah, so he sold the Star Wars movies, but he kept the merchandising rights.
Okay. I can't tell if you're frozen or if you're still talking. Oh no, people, we have technical difficulties. He's definitely frozen. Whatever he has to say about Star Wars, ChatGPT does not want us to know. So, oh, there he is. He's unfrozen. I can see him nodding.
I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight. Here, let me.
Do you think it's you, or do you think it's me?
I don't know. I just had a thing come up, said my internet was unstable.
Oh no, that's so sad.
I have issues.
Every time you talked about Star Wars, it froze you.
Oh man. Yeah.
So, you know what? Don't talk about Star Wars. Talk about Spaceballs.
I won't. So he kept all the merchandising, but sold the movie rights. Right. So he's a billionaire because of the small print said, I get to keep the merchandising rights. So something's going to happen with the music where, I don't know exactly how it's going to happen or what's going to go down. My knowledge and all those rules aren't good enough. Right. But like Bruce Springsteen selling his catalog, even though I think he got a couple $100 million for it, which is.
You shouldn't have said the name. That's what froze you. Right? You caught that, listeners. He said Bruce Springsteen, and bam, and frozen.
What happens when new songs start coming out with his voice?
Right, for sure.
Yeah, this works better when you're talking and I lose you.
So much better. Well, we'll have to ask the IP attorney I know, or maybe, oh my gosh, maybe we should have the IP attorney on our show and start like peppering with questions, right? And Kilted was just nodding there, but now he nods no longer. It's very tragic. But you do look dreamy. Oh, there, he's back.
Yeah.
We are getting a rough version of Kilted today.
See, I know you're gone because you always are going.
See, but I bet on my end, people aren't going to see that. They're just going to see you going.
No, they're just going to see me.
Oh, listeners, I apologize.
Yeah, I don't know what's up.
I don't know.
Something's the matter.
It is
But that's all right.
super
That's
easy.
we carry on.
Carry on, my wayward son. For sure. Had some comments and thoughts, and I'll probably butcher most of these if I can even remember them, about our last friendship episode.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so one of them that was interesting, I was like, oh my gosh, I bet Kilted will resonate with this. But they, because one of the questions we posed was, is it weird how we're able to just restart friendships all the time and blah blah, or is it normal? Is it something about us? What's the deal?
Yeah.
And the thought was that specifically for me, because I've never left the area, and by area I'm going to say what, a 50-mile radius.
Yeah.
So I've never left the area as far as living. So I've traveled the world, so it's not like I haven't traveled or been lots of places, but my home has always been in this area, right? And so they said that kind of stability, living in that area, first off, you make millions of connections in that area, which is why you're known everywhere in the area, but you've made tons and tons of connections. But the other is you're always a safe space for everybody, because everybody knows you'll still be in that area no matter what else happens. So they can go do their life, live their life, move and travel, and they can always reach out and know you're still there because you're still in that area and you're not leaving that area. They're like, so you become everybody's central point. So one, you're making connections everywhere, but then
Interesting.
everybody sees that stability and safety, like you're ground zero. And I remember when you were a gypsy, we were your ground zero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right. And when Jamie and Jess moved away to DC, we were their ground zero. Like they didn't go to their parents for Christmas. They came and stayed at our place. Like we
Mm-hmm.
were their spot. And then they branched out to everything from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, what an interesting analysis of it. And two, just an interesting pickup, because I'm like, that's really actually true. I've never thought about it, but
Yeah.
it is a stability kind of a thing.
We
So
have such smart listeners.
people are so much smarter than us. That's like the reality, right? Just so much smarter than us. So, but yeah, and I don't know, there's a lot of stuff like that where I was like, oh, and I think you have that, but not with a physical location. Like I think people know your brain, and it's not like you change like everybody does,
Mm-hmm.
but your core is so solid and stable. I think people know it's always there to go back to. And so they have no issues like coming back to, because they know that core is still there either way, and it's not going to deviate.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. I like that theory a lot.
yeah. So, whereas other people I think have it. The other thing that kind of came up, and Amy and I've talked about this before, is, and I wonder if this is a gender thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and I don't know, so I'm curious about it. But like I've heard Amy say, like I don't have the energy or the time to go make friends. Like I'm too busy, I have too much going on, I have too much work, too much
Mm-hmm.
with the kids, too much like I don't have time for all of that, right?
Yeah.
And she makes friends, like she has friends
Mm-hmm.
at work and she has people she's close to, but it's not like us who are always making friends everywhere we go. And so I've heard people say that recently, same deal, like, I don't have time to do that. I like where my life is, I like my friend group, I don't have time to make other friends. But it tends to be females in my experience who say that.
Yeah.
And so then I wonder, is that a thing as well? Right? Like, I don't know.
It is.
Whatever he is saying right now, people, is amazing. It's mind blowing. I'm telling you right now. Kilted is dropping knowledge that you guys just can't hear or appreciate because you can't hear it. but you can tell from that little side eye he's giving the camera right now that he's dropping bombs. Dropping bombs. I'm drinking gin and ginger ale today, and it's interesting, like berry gin, which actually makes the gin and ginger ale really kind of tasty. It's got a little berry tartness to it. Oh, people, we have lost him. Do you think he shut down? I feel honestly like out of place without Kilted with me. I've teased him before that I was going to record without him, but always in complete jest. So now he's actually not here, and it's kind of totally freaking me out. We really would love responses from you. What you think about the friend things? Like, is that like a guy girl thing? Guy listeners out there, is that something where you're like, yeah, I don't pursue like friendships because it's just too much work or too much energy? Like, I imagine there's some on both sides of the equation. I guess my question is there more of you who feel that way or less of you who feel that way? You know, like maybe that's a wrong way of looking at it. I wonder if we'll be able to get Kilted back. So I sent him the link to our episode. We'll see. This is the first time. What are we at? Episode 129 that we've lost a person. So it's kind of sad. Kind of sad, right? Yeah. Anywho, moving on with other fun stuff, I think. I started a push-up challenge this week. So one of my buddies challenged me to do 3,000 push-ups in May, which I thought might be hard. And I had some friends who were like, oh my gosh, that'd be like impossible for me. But so far, May 1st, I did 105 push-ups. Today, I think I've done 100 already. And I'll probably get it up to like 110 or 120, giving myself a little buffer zone. But the funniest thing was I took a video of myself doing the push-ups, and it's like freaking hilarious. One, it's just funny having that vantage point of your face going like this while you're doing a push-up. Like, it made me giggle. But the other one is like I was trying to do a video at once, and I thought about putting these on TikTok or whatever, but the camera slid. So I'm like this. And so all you see is me going like this. And it totally looks like I'm being inappropriate in the push-up video. And it cracks me up and makes me laugh. So, holy cow, what is this? Oh my goodness, Kilted is coming back. He's coming back. He's connecting with us. Oh my goodness, he's in the dark. He's in the dark, and he's a robot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I heard you. Oh, look at that, the light's on.
Yeah, you know what happened? My computer like went total crazy.
Oh no.
Like everything shut down. Can you hear?
You're broken up a tad bit, but we could hear, like you said, yeah, I was on my computer and everything went crazy and totally shut down. So
Okay. Let me see.
Man, look at that serious.
Yeah, we can finish here.
I just kept on talking.
I'm super irritated.
Oh, you poor guy. Yep, I just kept
like
on
going. My Zoom went away, and then it shut down, and that was.
Oh no! Oh, he's back. Oh, poor Kilted.
So I switched to my phone.
Oh, he's back.
I switched to my phone.
Yeah.
Switched to my phone so I wouldn't have to deal with the internet in the house here, but apparently this isn't perfect either.
It's pretty much amazing. This might be one of the more funny episodes that we've ever shot, honestly. It's
good.
It's pretty hilarious to me. Don't know if it's hilarious to the rest of you. Um, Kilted and I have been playing a lot of Rocket League. We're getting better and better, but I started saving some replays, and what I need to do is learn how to record those for you listeners and save some clips, because some of the stuff we do is just hilarious, I think. And it may not be hilarious to you if you don't know how to play Rocket League, but you know, I think watching us whiff on balls is funny. And other stuff. Like those made me laugh. Like every time I saw it, I was like, oh, there I go by the ball. Oh. So actually, I should make a compilation of just you trying to get balls on the wall. Because I was watching myself and I whiffed like a ton of times. But then I think about how many times you whiff in a game on a wall. And I probably could get a whole bunch of footage.
Yeah. I need to practice that, I think.
Oh, it's so funny. I wonder if it's because of your view, but I don't know. Right? I whiff aerial all the time, and I think it's because of my view.
That makes sense.
Like I worry that because I'm not in ball view when I'm flying through the air that I don't go right. But I don't actually know. I don't actually know. And you're gonna have to go back and watch all the parts you missed because they're pretty funny.
This is definitely.
All right, people, we're gonna give him one more chance. If he jumps on, we'll let him say goodnight and goodbye to you guys. Okay, it looks like he's coming back. I could hear his voice.
I'm gonna hit this one for sure. I gotta know what I missed.
You're gonna have to watch it for sure. All right. Well, we're gonna end our episode before we lose Kilted again. So, people, thank you for joining us. We'll give you another episode maybe this week where we can live it up a little bit more and hit some more fun stuff once Kilted gets off his toaster, right? Because clearly that's what he's using as a computer nowadays. Actually, his toaster probably still has internet connection. In all honesty. But anyway, this is Ballbuster signing off. Have a great week.
Kilted Dragon Jerry, love you all.